So welcome to Black Spaces and the Black Spaces Show. We give you sci-fi and fantasy from Black SGL perspectives. Many other shows will critique blockbuster and indie sci-fi and fantasy films and TV series, but we give you that unique critique about these sci-fi shows. This is Todd, and joining me are two celestial cuties of Ulysses and Milton. And we are the brothers from the mother planet. How y'all doing?
What's good?
What's going on? Doing good, doing good.
Was Celestial Cuties better than holographic hunks from last time?
I think we can rotate them out. I think, we'll see what sticks.
See what sticks. Well, okay, oh yeah, we'll see what sticks. We'll keep working on it. I'll keep working on it because clearly I have to. All right. Okay, so for each show, you can join us on either the Black Spaces Show on our Facebook group page, our YouTube channel, or our Spotify podcast. You can get complete information on where to find our shows or how to reach us on our Black Spaces website at www.blackspacesshow.com. That's www.blackspacesshow.com. So please subscribe, hit and like us, because we love you. With each show, no matter how much we talk, we will always ask three big questions. Those three questions are, what is the source? And that's relevant to what we're going to talk about today because it uses the concept of return to the source. So what is the source? So what was the intent versus the impact of the original creator of that story? Is the film or show good sci-fi? Is it entertaining, credible, or well done? And how well or badly are we, Black folks, Black women and men, Black LGBTQ folks, how well are we represented? Please feel free to post comments or questions in the chat if you can, or send us comments at our email at blackspaces2001@gmail.com. All right, let me give you spoiler alerts. And I'm gonna get into a overview, not a synopsis, an overview of the Matrix. So we're looking at the fourth Matrix film in the quadrilogy. And this is Matrix Resurrections, as produced, written, and co-written by one half of the Wachowski siblings, Lana Wachowski. Of course, the other sibling is Lily Wachowski. So like Star Wars and the Planet of the Apes, the Matrix trilogy is a modern sci-fi myth that has multiple philosophical, historical, cultural, and technological influences and references. The Matrix films include The Matrix 1999, The Matrix Reloaded, and The Matrix Revolutions, which were both 2003, and then now Matrix Resurrections, which is 2021. The first film grossed about $460 million, and all total of those three, it was about $1.6 billion. It tells the story of Neo, who gets in trouble with the authorities for computer hacking, and after being pursued, discovers through Morpheus that reality is not what it seems, but is in fact a computer-generated world by artificial intelligence, machines, who use human beings as batteries that are plugged into pods while the machines hook their brains to create a reality, a false reality. So Matrix 4 stars Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Lambert Wilson to reprise their roles from the previous films, and they're joined by others. It tells a story where Neo is led to believe by his analysts that his entire adventures of freeing himself from and other human beings from the Matrix, as portrayed in the three previous films, is all an elaborate ruse. Or not elaborate ruse, actually, let me clarify. It's a video game that Neo created, but due to mental illness, he confuses with reality. In short, this film is a love story of how Neo and Trinity re-free themselves from the Matrix to lead a hybrid human machine utopia to a brighter future. It's grossed about $140 million worldwide, but it is not doing the same business and may not do the same business as the originals. In fact, I've heard that they may be losing $100 million to Warner Brothers. So having said all that, brothers, is this good sci-fi? Is this good sci-fi? Is it, in terms of credibility, plot, acting, dialogue, characters, special effects, cinematography, soundtrack, all the other important stuff, is this good sci-fi? What y'all think? Viewers already know their opinion. So tell you what, let's start on a good foot. Milton, what do you think? Is this good sci-fi?
Okay, to answer your question, yes, it is good sci-fi.
Okay.
Only because of its predecessor and the whole idea of the movie and the whole concept. That's what makes it good sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a good conversation we had was, does this film stand up on its own well? And I don't think it does. But I still actually enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was well paced. I liked the action. I liked the advancements in the technology. I liked the leaps ahead in the way in which they, dial into the matrix, they get out of the matrix. The whole idea of the agents now can become a swarm. So I liked a lot of the advancements in the technology. So is it good sci-fi? Yes, that's my answer.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Milton. I appreciate it. Ulysses, your thoughts? Good sci-fi.
I am going to desperately
Uh-oh.
try not to be the old man in the balcony.
Oh, you mean on the Muppet Show?
Or from the Muppet Show. And it's gonna be hard.
Well, if you do, I'll be the other old man.
Okay. Now, here is, and I'm giving it some thought, where I think I found problems with the movie. It didn't keep my attention, and that is hard for a movie, not to really keep my attention.
Mm-hmm.
It had the elements of both a sequel and a reboot.
Okay. Yep.
And that is bad. Pick a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pick one.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make it fresh for a new generation, but we want to incorporate so many elements for those who love the previous three movies. So we're going to kind of continue on the story, but you didn't really continue the story.
No.
It's like you started a whole new story, and the previous three movies was just a story, kind of.
Right.
I didn't like the way it flowed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Story-wise, I kind of felt like it sucked, just a little bit. But that isn't always what makes good sci-fi. Now, effects, great effects.
Mm-hmm.
Great effects, beautiful gowns, love the gowns.
Okay.
Now,
bullet time.
Yes, it was wonderful. The technology, that was all in place. That was giving you the future, which is what it's supposed to happen. In sci-fi, it's supposed to give you fantastical. It's supposed to give you I can't believe it. There was a wow factor there, but everything else,
not so much.
Not so much.
Okay. Well, so actually hearing Milton, which is this is why I like the mix of us as a panel, brothers from another planet, because I agree with Milton's assessment about there are fun elements to the film. There are funny elements to the film, and it does give me someone who is well old enough to remember the original films, a bit of nostalgia about the first three Matrix films. I walked out of the first Matrix film, and the first thing I said to myself was, how do I know this is reality? I mean, that's how much it was mind blowing to me, because I'm like, this may not be reality. How do we know? How can we independently verify reality is reality? So that's how much it blew my mind, bake my noodle, as the Oracle said. And so I think that's one of my favorite phrases. And so
yes.
that's why I think it was such a high bar, brothers, for this sci-fi film, right? Because the original Matrix, in fact, Lana Wachowski in this film kind of had some tongue-in-cheek jokes about you needed a syllabus. In the fourth Matrix, you needed a syllabus to understand the other three Matrix films. Now they were talking about the video game, the rules of the video game. But because there's so many references. There is there are philosophical references, religious references, Hindu.
It's funny you said that, because when we first started talking, it gave me the Silmarillion. Like it made me think of the Silmarillion, what the Silmarillion is to the Hobbit. The Silmarillion is like the whole kind of history. It is more so like the Bible, the history and the lore of Middle Earth.
Gotcha.
But that's what this was kind of giving me, just kind of giving all the history and the lore, and just filling in all of the gaps. And I guess that's what this movie was attempting to do, but it was just giving way too much. It was giving way too much for me.
Okay. Well, okay. So here's where I have a slightly different view in terms of this being good sci-fi. It was good sci-fi. It was good sci-fi. It wasn't good Matrix sci-fi. And I'll tell you why. There is not one special effect, one thing that they did in this film that was necessarily moving that technology ahead in certain ways. Now, it's fair to say, the idea of the swarm and that you have these hybrid machines, which I didn't quite understand, but maybe I need to go back and do some rewatching about the cooperation between machines and human beings. But I think I understood, that it was a rebellion in some respects, and there was a faction that broke off. But even referencing bullet time, which was mind-blowing technology and mind-blowing CGI and advanced like Star Wars did for sci-fi. If there's another film that we can think of that is advanced science fiction cinematography and effects, it would be Matrix after Star Wars, right? Mm-hmm. So when you have a bar that high, you got to do something like, and the problem is that it was going back and doing all of these backward, reflections in time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, you did that same, Trinity running across up the wall. Yeah, she did that, and bullet time. Yeah, y'all did that the first. So there were so many things that were just like the first three that I'm like, that's what disappointed me. It's like you really didn't move aspects of this forward on a Matrix level. On a sci-fi level, yes, but not on a Matrix level. Mm-hmm. And thus I feel, just as another commentary here, that it shows the siblings not collaborating because you got hammered, or probably what you should have gotten with this story, that Lily didn't join Lana in this film. And I think it was their collaborations as siblings that made a fundamental difference in how brilliant those films were. So yeah, that would be my general assessment. Good sci-fi, generally speaking, nice effects, just not good Matrix sci-fi. I didn't, push it forward in terms of Matrix. What are some other elements? So you've already talked a little bit about the plot, Ulysses. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that in terms of plot? Do you want to talk a little bit more, Milton, in terms of plot?
Well, just a little bit maybe on the technology, because I kind of agree with you that the advancements in the technology within the Matrix world, you're right, were more minimal. Mm-hmm. Because I did expect bigger leaps. And I did like the whole concept of now the operator kind of being there with them.
Yes.
So you may, the opening scene with the operator learning that he's now actually can visually be with them versus looking at code coming down a screen and then interpreting what the code means. So I kind of like that part.
Okay.
And then the whole idea, of them not needing a landline phone, now using the mirrors.
You're right.
And then the swarm idea. And then, but you're right, when it came to the fight scenes, it was kind of a rehash of what we had seen before. Mm-hmm. Following up your point about the siblings not collaborating and maybe some other writers not being present there, did really make a difference. But I still liked the advancements in the technology, mm-hmm. Like with the swarm and the idea of the agents coming in. But still, yeah, it wasn't monumental leaps. I don't have a whole lot of, aspects to really fall back onto. So.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Any other thoughts in terms of plot there, Ulysses?
In terms of plot?
Yeah. You ain't much to say.
No. Maybe given some time, something will come to me. Maybe if I watch it a few more times, I will say this. There is a part of me that doesn't think that movie was made for me.
Okay.
For someone like me, The Matrix isn't that old. I don't feel very nostalgic about The Matrix because The Matrix is still fresh for me. Mm-hmm. Like, I can probably count the days since I quoted a line from The Matrix. You understand? So it's, you know what I mean? It's really, it's fresh. It's not,
like yesterday.
It's not something I have to kind of dig out the crates. It's,
gotcha. Uh-huh.
Kind of something that's, commonly or quite often in the rotation, to watch. So,
okay.
I think for people who, haven't seen it or like a whole nother generation who don't know what it is, don't really understand what it's about, it seemed like it was for them. It didn't seem like it was for me.
Okay.
It did not seem like it was geared toward me as a fan of
to you, the fan.
The Matrix.
Oh, okay, that's intriguing. Yeah, because when you really think about it, I agree with you. This story moved ahead 60 years, but didn't move the plot forward much at all. I mean, it was sort of like that Neo and Trinity fought the machine and won again so they could do exactly what they were doing 60 years ago. That's not much of an, I mean, there's a new community called Io now that as opposed to Zion, but it's the same principle and, and you got a little bit more this and that. So I'm almost of the opinion, I'm like, all right, this is harsh. I kind of wish this hadn't been made if it wasn't going to really move us forward. I know that sounds a little harsh, but yeah, move us forward in that story. Otherwise, it's circular. And it was circular because it was so much rehashing, literally a lot of rehashing. So
I'm with you, instead of doing this line with them and the anomalium and become the anomalies, just move the story forward just to a whole different chapter. And I think that may have been better, actually.
I agree.
Just a whole new cast, a whole new theory, a whole new place that the Matrix could be in. And then how was Io built in 60 years to that degree? My God.
Yeah, I know.
Zion took hundreds of years.
Maybe the machines helped them. I don't know.
That is quite possible.
Okay.
That is quite possible.
Okay.
Right now, that with shows like Dexter and Sex and the City, there are a lot of limited series coming out, some continuations of long running shows or things that are, well known, that are coming back, but not coming back for a long period of time, coming back for just a limited run. And I kind of look to capitalism as the reason.
Yeah, yep.
For that.
Dollars to be
They even made fun of that in the movie. Remember, they made the joke about Warner Brothers.
That's right. They made, yeah, right.
Warner kind of missed that one.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they said Warner Brothers needs a sequel. So it was very self-referential in this film. Very, very self-referential. And critiquing the politics of Hollywood while doing the politics of Hollywood.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's go on to our unique critique. So I want to just ask real quickly, as our other major segment, about your thoughts about certain characterizations. So if our dear brother Vince was here, he would be apoplectic about this being a love story, because he's got his critique about, don't mess up my sci-fi with the extraneous love stories. Was this love story compelling enough to be at the center of this drama? Because it just seems like it was a little bit Romeo and Juliet. And then I found it, here's my unique critique about, could we have mixed it up a bit, as opposed to putting a heterosexual love relationship at the center of the savior of the world, of the saving of the world, particularly given the Wachowskis are transgender persons. And so to me, it was a missed opportunity to mix it up a little bit more, because hundreds of years into the future, we would suspect there's all types of couplings. So I don't know, what's your thoughts about this love story and this love story being at the center of this story?
Well, when I was watching it, I was wondering what they were trying to give us with the general. Do you remember when
yes.
Bugs, they stole the ship, and then the general was on the balcony with the other older lady?
Yes.
And she was hugged up on her. So I didn't know if that was more of a friendship hug, or if that was really trying to show that they were in a relationship.
Yeah.
But then I remember Niobe was, though, with Morpheus and then with Commander Locke. And so I was like, well, but of course we did then also get the implied relationship between the captain of the ship and then one of her subordinates. Remember when
they
finally came out of the Matrix and Neo and Trinity reached and were holding hands, and then they were kind of coupled up together.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they did give us, maybe a couple of lesbian couples or female couples in there. Mm-hmm. So, and then maybe, back in 1999 when they wrote the movie, they were, being traditional, white men writing traditional, characters in, looking at their fan base and what it would be.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think there was any of those references in this film. I mean, if there was those references, they were extremely subtle, because I didn't catch them off the bat.
Yeah, they're very subtle. Yeah,
they're very subtle. Right. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts, Ulysses?
I kind of have none.
It is a rare thing that Ulysses is speechless after what.
I understand it is, and enjoy it while it lasts.
Okay, all right, we'll move on.
But I told you, like, this movie, I had some real difficulties.
Okay.
Paying attention, because it really was not keeping my attention. And I sat down with the, intention of enjoying it and just kind of having that nostalgia moment, just like everyone else.
Okay.
I wanted to enjoy it, but
okay.
And then also, but also along the same notes, you notice at the end when they kind of gave Trinity kind of the superpowers between the two. Remember how Neo couldn't fly anymore?
Yes,
He couldn't figure out how to fly, but then to save their lives, Trinity learned to fly. And then, at the end when they flew into the architect, or Neil Patrick Harris, and were doing all of that. So they kind of elevated her to his level. Okay. And so maybe that's another advancement as now, trans siblings, and maybe that's what Lana wanted to.
I got a critique since we're on Trinity, right? If we're going to do this, are we going to do this?
You are.
Are we going to? Well, apparently so. Okay. Uh-huh. So why did Trinity abandon her children?
Oh yeah, okay.
Right?
Run after this man. Did anybody catch that?
Oh, that was so funny. Because what was her name? Trish? Or what's her name? Trish?
Tiff.
Or
Tiff.
Well,
they weren't real kids.
She had them.
Well, no, I thought but they were in the Matrix.
She had them. That's all I'm saying.
They didn't count. Well, okay. Yeah. I just thought, again, there was some missed opportunities here, even if you wanted to put as true for the original Matrix. And let's be real, the original Matrix also had this scene, the rave scene, where Neo and Trinity were making love outside of the celebration within the cave. And it was
that was an orgy,
or the orgy, or the sort of it was very orgastic. Oh, yeah, orgastic. And so you had
that was an orgy.
That's orgy.
Just call a thing a thing.
Okay, all right, but it was interesting. You had all of these black brown bodies sort of being being almost, if I can use this word, sort of hedonistic. But then this very tender and loving and sensual embrace between these white bodies. So there are commentators who've critiqued that scene to say this separation out of and the sort of the white love was sort of spiritual and sensual. The brown love was just erotic and sensual, And so even of the original film, there was critiques about the ways in which people of color were portrayed in these loving relationships or in these sensual relationships. So
it all depends on if you look at it through a sex positive lens, though. I saw both of them as very passionate and beautiful.
Fair, very, very fair. And there was the loving relationship between Link and, I'm forgetting the name, Link's partner, but he was on the ship.
No, I'm talking about the dancing and sweating and stomping and whirling around in the cave. I thought that was absolutely wonderful. It looked beautiful to me. It
was beautiful.
It just looked, I hadn't seen anything like it.
No. I agree. I just think that I'm taking it from a standpoint of, at times, the ways in which it is not the burden of every filmmaker to overcome stereotypes, but they be conscious of stereotypes.
But understand, I mentioned the lens through which you looked at it.
True.
You understand?
True.
If you're looking at it through a very sex positive lens, yes, those things are going to look very much the same to you.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. So what of Niobe and women of color in this film? What of Morpheus? What are your thoughts in terms of those portrayals?
Wow, well, he's still a magical Negro. I'm sorry. Oops.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Is magical. If you watched Watchmen and his Yaya's performance in Watchmen, I'll just say that. I'll leave that there. He's quite magical.
Y'all will find out that reference. Oh Lord.
Oh, Milton.
But as Morpheus, okay, I was disappointed that Lawrence wasn't in it, but I guess if they wanted to roll it forward, they still could have made him older like they did,
Yeah.
But
Trinity and Neo.
yeah, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
But he did the best he could. I mean,
In the script, right?
Yeah. And then the new technology now of the programs being able to take some type of physical form in the real world was kind of an interesting concept.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of aided, I guess, in a lot of the things that was done there. But I mean, he did the best he could. I mean, I liked the initial scene where they were fighting, doing the kung fu.
Okay.
And he used a lot of Morpheus lines pretty well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and they already had introduced to us the concept of, individuals in the Matrix looking different. When the actress playing the Oracle passed, and then in part 3 they used the new actress. So they already kind of introduced that concept.
That's right.
That we could have a different appearing, person. But he was a program though, built by Neo versus the actual Morpheus stuff.
Okay.
But, yeah, he did the best he could, I think.
Okay, gotcha. So all right, Ulysses, let's unpack that. Why is he still a magical Negro?
Mm-hmm.
I said, why?
I'm sorry, I was having some internet issues.
I said, why is Morpheus still a magical Negro? Explain.
I was being facetious, to be quite honest.
Okay. Well,
but in a lot of ways, he is essentially magical.
Okay.
A computer program. He's not like everybody else, I'll tell you that.
True.
And his whole purpose in being really does seem to be to move the protagonist,
yeah,
toward his goal.
Yeah.
To kind of help him along in his quest or journey.
Okay. So, supporting actor. Okay. All right. So let's come down. Let's conclude, brothers.
However, did he sacrifice himself the way Lawrence Fishburne did?
I got to recall. No, I don't think he did.
He didn't sacrifice himself?
He didn't really have a lot of opportunities to.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the only element that's missing in the magical Negro trope.
Otherwise.
Yeah, that's the only other element.
Song and dance. Okay. I can only do that so well sitting down.
You are shady.
Unique critique. All right.
Okay.
All right, brothers. So let's conclude by y'all giving your ratings. We'll go in almost alphabetical order. Milton, since we began with you, what do you think?
All right. So my rating of Matrix 4,
1 to 10, 10 high,
1 to 10. I'm gonna say 6 is pulling me, but then I'm pulling back some points. So I'm gonna say 5.5. Oh no, I'm gonna round up to 6. I'm gonna say a 6.
Okay.
I will give it a 6. I still enjoyed it all in all. I was disappointed because it wasn't Matrix level that I expected from the, Wachowski siblings or from Lana.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still hopeful. I'm hopeful either for a reuniting of the two siblings to maybe give us a part 5 and 6, or just a totally new story. Mm-hmm. Maybe go away 5-10 years, come back in 5 years with a totally new Matrix story, or turn it over. George Lucas had to turn it over. Right. Just turn the franchise over and let young bloods truly come in and, do a prequel or sequel or whatever it may be. So I'm hopeful for Matrix. So 6.
6. Okay. All right. Ulysses, what you think? And remember, positive numbers.
No negative energies.
No negative energies.
Yeah. Well, that limits what I can do. I tell you.
One is amazing.
Okay.
Oh, he's giving Betty Davis.
I know.
I didn't like this cigarette.
I give it a 3.
Okay.
I give it a 3. The effects were good. I love Keanu. I love most of the actors who were in the movie.
Did you like
You
the
know.
acting though?
Did I like the acting?
I thought Keanu was comatose through the first half of the movie.
I don't think that has anything to do with him.
Okay.
I didn't even like his look. I didn't like the hair. I didn't like the whole beard. I'm with you.
But get into it. Get into it. I mean, if we have to veer off to the left real quick, if we have to pull into this, rest stop real quick. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Thanks. If this was a money grab, why not cash in on the John Wick look while we can?
The who look?
Right, while John Wick is hot.
Oh, John Wick.
Right?
Oh, okay.
So maybe he was filming this right after.
No, I'm saying perhaps there was a conscious decision to go ahead and film this while, as him looking like
John Wick.
Oh,
okay. I hadn't thought about that.
Understand. Pull in the newer audience who are John Wick fans and Keanu fans because of John Wick and not Matrix.
Okay.
There you go.
And all this older ones. I got you.
I don't know. You might be giving too much credit, but okay.
Maybe.
An explanation.
Maybe not, but that almighty dollar will.
Oh yeah, we know that was very much at play. So, all right. So you listen. So 3. Okay.
I'll give it a 3, and I love the actors.
Mm-hmm.
I love the effects. I just hated the story.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna also give it a 3 because on all of the above scores, I'm a little critical. And I just don't think it was a Matrix film. I might give it a 2 because I really don't think it is. I almost wish it wasn't made. I know that sounds really bad, but I think great films, and particularly great sci-fi films, should go out on a high. Don't keep cranking it out until you run it into the ground. and so I really do hope the siblings, I hope the sisters get back together if there's going to be a 5, because I think their creative partnership is critical to all that you find in this film. Now, this film had some aspects about it. I bet somebody's out there now, once they get their copy, they're going to splice it together and make it into a good film based on some editing, because it had some elements to it. It just kept, it was sort of roller coastery. So now I'll go back to 3. I'll say 3. I won't say it shouldn't have been made, but at the same, I almost thought at the end, maybe this is just me being old and cranky. Okay, now Ulysses, I am in the Muppet.
Gotcha.
I'm in the balcony now. I do think, I almost was saying, okay, Romeo and Juliet, they're going to jump off this building and die, but then bring about this revolution through their deaths. I said, well, that's a big thing if you kill off the 2 main characters. And then you would have to.
They did at the end of the 3rd movie.
They did at the end of the 3rd movie, right? So I that would be big. They're like, okay, that's kind of poignant to do it that way. But they didn't. Now, it's good that they gave Trinity the same sort of super person powers, and now they're Superman and Superwoman. But again, we're back where we started 60 years later. So that's why I'm critical of it. It wasn't a Matrix quality film. I sound like a broken record. I'll stop. All right. So thank you, brothers. I appreciate it. Milton, is your dog doing okay?
I know. He had comments. As you can see, he was with you guys. He watched it with me last night. He watched it with me, and he was disappointed as well. So so I was trying to.
Oh, he was coaching in the back, huh?
Exactly. He was coaching.
Milton, you didn't mention this. All right.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. So thank you very much, folks, for joining us again. our discussion and our unique critique of the Matrix Resurrections. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share us because we love you. And you can catch us again on Black Spaces at www.blackspaces.com. As always, thank you, Brother Milton, for all you do and the brilliant analysis that you bring to this. And thank you very much, Ulysses. I appreciate that. Catch you on the backhand side, on the black hand side, and in the future. Peace out.
All right.